The roadmap to unlocking Gibraltar is a dynamic document subject to change as the science changes. The Chief Minister says we cannot go back to what we once called normal, as the moment we let down our guard, we will see the virus return. He said the changes would come soon, but not yet. Mr. Picardo said asking police to enforce the regulations is dystopian, and although the government was a little concerned about people not having respected the rules of social distancing over the weekend, it wasn't hugely so.
If you need to go to the shops, go as if you were going to one of the supermarkets. Normality has not yet returned. Please do not fall into the trap of thinking otherwise. The sun may be out, but the virus is out there also. The virus will strike back if we become complacent. So the beaches will remain closed for now.
However, he said it was considering imposing forced confinement if people who had tested positive for COVID-19 left their homes and interacted with others.
That means that we are looking at fines and, if necessary, enforced confinements, which would ultimately mean imprisonment, for people who refuse to self-isolate once they have been diagnosed. Because a person who has been diagnosed will become a focus of contagion if they do not self-isolate. We have concerns that this may be starting to become an issue, and we will therefore be consulting on amendments to our regulations going forward, requiring such people to self-isolate by compulsion of law.
But he said the world we step out into must be a better one. And with this in mind, he announced a series of measures to improve our environment, namely the closure of main arteries to most traffic. As from the 1st of June, Linewall Road, Europort Avenue and Chatham Counterguard will be accessed only by buses, pedestrians, cyclists, public service vehicles and those who live or take children to school in the areas, as well as blue badge holders.
We have to be brave in the way that we shape the future. We will be. That is why today I can tell you that our plan to unlock the rock will also contain provisions to close a number of traffic arteries in order to seek to reduce pollution. Because we cannot fail to take the good out of the problems that this pandemic has visited upon us. The world into which we step out must be a better world for our children. We must now be looking beyond the immediacy of this pandemic and into the future.
He acknowledged that the closure of Linewall Road was in the Together Gibraltar manifesto at the last election and said he would be inviting Ms Hassan Naon to contribute her ideas for this project. Mr Picardo also said local vehicles will soon be charged for the use of Midtown Car Park. The Director of Public Health, Suhail Bhatti, announced that frontline workers accounting for 1% of the population had been swabbed in the last week with not a single positive case, which meant there were very low levels of infection on the rock.
I think that means that we have very low levels of infection. What we've done, as we promised, would be to reach out to some of our frontline workers who are exposed far more than most people to the thoroughfare of people, so you would expect them to be exposed more than others. This is different from the random sampling we've carried out before.
He said the aim was to test 1.5% every week from now on, and added he was hopeful that it would be weeks rather than months before a reliable antibody test was developed.